Well, Jared Goff's kind of an interesting person to put on my list of top 40 quarterbacks right now for several reasons. I mean, on one hand, this guy had an absolutely fantastic season last year. I mean, statistically and watching on his tape, he made some incredible throws and some incredible plays. He ended up 12th best in points gained per snap and even led his team to a Super Bowl berth. However, then the Super Bowl happened and things absolutely did not go as planned. But personally, I like Jared Goff. I think he's a very young player, which is why I only have him here at number 12. I can't have him too much higher. However, he's a very talented player, and I think in the next few years, he'll easily be getting up into the top 10 or even top 5. Like, one of the key ways that they're able to be successful, one of the real staples of that Los Angeles offense has been play action, and it's been a lot of plays like this. This is very much how the Sean McVay style offense tends to work. First, it's going to be play action, and they're going to pull the tight end as though he is going to be blocking, but he's actually going to be running a route down there towards the bottom half of the screen. And so as you see, once the ball is snapped and the play developed, this play is going to work out fairly well, and there is going to be a Los Angeles Ram who's going to be pretty open. But of course, there's Vikings that are in the area and are going to be fastly approaching Goff, so Goff is going to have to try to make this throw as quick as possible to get it to his receiver as quick as possible. It's a 2nd down and 2, so it's not the end of the world if you don't get too much yards. Really, you would like to get the first down, but if you don't get too much past the first down, it's not the end of the world, but of course, you should look to try to get as many yards as possible on every single play. And look at Goff, look at how off balance he is. This is not going to be an easy throw for him to make, just because, I mean, yes, of course this should be a completion. This would be a terrible throw if it wasn't a completion. But he's going to have to try to hit his receiver in stride so he can pick up as many yards after the catch, but that's exactly what he's able to do despite being off balance. It's athletic plays like that set Jared Goff apart from so many other players in the league. He's such a good athlete, and that play was a great example of it. This play is another interesting one. It's going to be a cover 1 blitz, and those will be the routes that the Los Angeles Rams receivers are going to be running. And so, there's a couple of routes that are going to be breaking up to the top half of the screen, and once you see this play develops, basically look at the receiver that Jared Goff is going to want to hit right when this play does develop. He's just breaking in now, he's just getting ready to get open, but now look over back to Goff. There is a Minnesota defensive player getting right close to him. This is definitely a dangerous situation for Goff. But one thing I love about Jared Goff is his calmness. Look at how he just patiently still just makes a perfect throw without even worrying about the defensive player who's right behind him. I mean, he does that all the time, where there's seemingly pressure and it's a tough situation, and he's just so calm and makes those throws so seamlessly. That might be one of my favorite things about Goff, is his calmness. It's his ability to not panic under pressure, and literally not panic under pressure when there are people coming towards him, not panicking, still taking his time and making a good throw. I mean, of course, everyone's going to talk about the Super Bowl when you're talking about Jared Goff, but if you take away that one game, he had pretty much a perfect season last year. He got outsmarted by one of the best coaches to ever do it, and that Patriots defense had a ton of talent last year on it. And everyone, of course, forgets about his great work in the NFC Championship game after a blown call to come back and help the Rams tie that game and eventually win the game in overtime. I mean, yes, Goff did get beat by the Patriots, but he got beat by the best ever, and Goff has shown up in some big moments as well, and honestly, in these small moments, he really shows up and just being very calm, very collective. And honestly, in these small moments as well, he's very calm and he just goes about his business. Like, this throw was just an unbelievable one, where again, it's going to be play action, and that's the route that receiver is going to be running. Basically, he's going to fake as though it's going to be a crossing route over to the bottom half of the screen, but then he's going to run deep over to the right side of the screen. And so once again, you'll see Jared Goff fake this handoff and just calmly step back in the pocket and wait for his receiver to get open. And it also does help Goff that he has a great offensive line. There's no denying that. However, he's going to wait, and once he sees that receiver open, now he's going to just make a throw down there. But what I really want to take a look at is look at how perfect this throw is. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better throw than that one. Hits his receiver perfectly in stride for an easy touchdown. I mean, that is just an absolute perfect pass from Goff. You can't get any better than that. You literally could not ask for anything better than that. I mean, what could you critique about that play? If you had to say, hey, maybe do this a little bit better, any small critique, I really can't think of one. That's why I have Goff ahead of some really good players like Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr and Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. It's because he can make those just insane throws. Like, this one's another one. This was in the Monday night game, the first game of the season against the Oakland Raiders, and it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and they have a receiver running an out route, which should be right before the safeties and right after the linebackers. That's where this route is going to try to go to. It's a good route, and what you will see is after this play develops is that the receiver is going to get open. So, all of this is just what you expect from this play call. It's a good play call against this type of coverage. Goff knows it. Goff is looking there, and he's going to make a throw in that direction. But again, look at the pinpoint accuracy on this throw. You couldn't ask for anything better than that. I mean, honestly, Jared Goff, he's just one of the best throwers that is in the league right now. If we're talking strictly arm talent, he's probably top 5, maybe even top 3. I mean, he's that good. And again, that's strictly arm talent. There's a lot more that goes into a quarterback than just arm talent. There also are some reads, which as we saw in the Super Bowl, Goff did not make a lot of great post-snap reads. That's something I made an entire video on. That's actually my most watched video right now. It has over 100,000 views. So if you want to check that one out, it shouldn't be too hard to find. And yes, I mean, that is a flaw. Like, I gotta just say that is definitely a weakness of Jared Goff, is his post-snap reads, and he did get kind of exposed a little bit in the Super Bowl. Actually, it happened to him a few times. Against Detroit it happened, it also happened to him against the Bears. This is something that's happened to Jared Goff, there's no doubt about it. But my kind of argument against that is just the fact that, well, yes, he does struggle in that, but guess what? He's a really young player, and that is absolutely something that gets better with age. Of course, that doesn't factor into a right now list, and that's also partially why I have him still at number 12, despite the fact that I said he has a top 5 or debatably top 3 best arm talent in the league. I can't talk about in the future because I'm just talking about next season in 2019, which quarterbacks would I rather have. But the reason I still really like Goff, even if he does struggle in post-snap reads, is because of something like this. It's going to be a unique coverage for Oakland as they're playing zone, but they're still going to be rushing 6 to try to get the Goff, so they're setting the house but still playing zone coverage. And the way this play is going to work for Los Angeles is they're going to fake a jet sweep over to the top half of the screen and have a receiver running right there. And this is actually a pretty good way to beat this coverage because, again, there is a play action which will hopefully draw linebackers in, and because there's going to be less Oakland Raiders in the area, this now means that the gaps could get bigger for Goff to try to make a throw to his receiver. But as you see once the play develops, again, this is kind of a risk at this point because this is when Goff has to make this throw. However, he doesn't know if his receiver is going to be open. For all he knows, that Oakland defensive back could jump the route and be able to pick it off. That is a real concern. But for Goff, you kind of just have to take your shot and make the throw there anyways. But again, one thing that helps Goff is just another perfect throw that results in a decent catch. Even if the Oakland Raider did know the route and did jump it and try to pick it off, he still probably wouldn't have been able to get that interception. Because it was such a perfect throw, only Cooks was going to make that catch. Just, again, a fantastic play by Goff. He does all of the things that he's supposed to do so well. Maybe he doesn't go above and beyond too often, but the reality is only 1 out of every 20 times do you have to go above and beyond. So in the other 19 plays, the fact that he has great accuracy and a great arm talent, that's what I value more. And I also should be clear, this isn't a guy who absolutely can't make post-snap reads. It's not where he excels, for sure. He definitely got exposed in that Patriots game, but also the New England Patriots were really smart in that game, the way they went about things. They ran a lot of basic coverages, but with slight differences that would fool Jared Goff in a very intelligent way. But when Goff knows what's going on, he can make those post-snap reads pretty well. Like, here's what I mean. This is going to be a cover 1 hole, and take a look at the routes that are going to be ran right when this ball is snapped. It's really those 3 routes right there. Those are the 3 routes they're going to look to. They're all going to the right side of the screen. But what's really fascinating about this is going to be that Oakland Raider right there. He's going to call out to the other Oakland Raider right over there, who's in charge of just covering the middle of the screen, who doesn't have a man. Hey, let's switch on this play. You get my guy, and instead I'll run over and kind of cover the middle of the screen. It's not a bad idea because it gives both players a little bit of better leverage. However, the problem is there's a miscommunication here. If you take a look at what's going on right now, there's a cluster of Oakland Raiders right over there. There ended up being 3 Oakland Raiders on 1 Ram, and now there's going to be another Ram who's completely wide open right over there. But if you notice Goff, he's already realized this. He already says, hey, I got a guy wide open. Now, granted, this is a route that he was kind of looking for anyways, so he was able to kind of look in that direction and see that someone was, okay, see there's a blown coverage, maybe he would have tried to throw it deep, but since he saw the blown coverage, I'm going to hit it there instead. He once again makes a very good throw, and they're able to pick up a decent gain on that one. But really what I liked about Jared Goff on that play was he quickly realized that's the receiver I should throw to. He didn't hesitate, and he made a throw in that direction. Admittedly, this guy is not Peyton Manning out there, okay? This guy makes some poor reads from time to time. This guy takes a little bit longer to make a read that should be relatively simple from time to time. You can't argue that. But I also feel like he can make some decent reads from time to time as well. He can make some post-snap reads okay. He's a pretty good pre-snap read player. Granted, I do think having Sean McVay helps. I think that Jared Goff is basically in a dream situation of being in that Sean McVay type system. But I also think Jared Goff is kind of a dream quarterback to have in that system. I mean, sure, there's some guys you'd rather have. Obviously, in my opinion, there's 11 guys I'd rather have than Goff. One more thing I like about not just Jared Goff, but the entire Los Angeles system is something like this. But where there's actually going to be a screen pass. So you might be thinking, okay, why in the world would I show a screen pass when talking about why I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback? Screen passes typically have nothing to do with a quarterback. Screen passes are usually about the offensive line being able to move out and make blocks, and also, of course, the wide receiver or halfback who gets the screen. But you'll understand why I'm showing this play as I show it. The way it's going to work is that the left guard and left tackle are each going to go out to block those 2 49ers who are right over there. And then, of course, there is going to be a wide receiver who just takes a step out and then runs back, and he's going to catch the ball, and hopefully the 2 offensive linemen will run out to make those blocks, and by the time the receiver gets the ball, they will already be in position to make the block, so that way the receiver can catch the ball and run in for a touchdown. But the reason I'm showing this play is because they actually have to get some time for those offensive linemen to get out and make those blocks. But of course, now it's kind of a conundrum, right? Where if you get your left tackle and left guard both out to be making blocks, this is now going to be a difficult situation to actually make this play, because you have to get enough time for them to get out and make their blocks, but also you're leaving a
49er completely unblocked who could run right towards Goff. So one thing you could do is just run play action, right? Where hopefully the defensive end runs straight to the halfback, tries to make a tackle on him, but then Goff still has the ball and is able to hit his receiver at the top half of the screen. So that is kind of what the Rams are going to do. However, they're going to take it one step further, and they're just going to instead fake a pitch back over there. This is still going to basically give the same effect as if it was a play action. However, the advantage is now Goff can quickly get into a position where he can make a throw. This helps the timing of the play work more, because now there still is time for those offensive linemen to get out and try to make their blocks, but it doesn't take too long where Jared Goff now has to quickly make a play. And he is able to turn around like that, make a very good throw, and it's able to be caught for a touchdown. And that's not a totally easy play from Goff either. I mean, that is footwork. He basically has to do a 360 and then make a throw right when he gets out done with making that 360. It's kind of similar to like a shortstop running to the left, then turning around and then making a throw to first. That's kind of what that play is like from Jared Goff, and he made it very well. One more play about Jared Goff. This is another play I really like from him where it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and first things first, they're just going to run play action. Okay, again, it's a Rams play, so of course they're running play action. They run play action all the time. So one thing the play action is going to do is actually draw that defensive back kind of closer in. And sometimes that wouldn't mean much, but with a receiver running deep right over there, basically right past that defensive back, now it means a lot. Now this is a throw Goff can make, and this is what Goff is going to make. But what I like about what Goff does here is look at his patience. He waits until the perfect time to make this throw, but doesn't wait too long where the safety who's deep can run over and make a play. He makes a perfect throw, and that's what results in a touchdown. Again, it's plays like that that I have Jared Goff so high up on this list. That's why I think he's a top 12 quarterback in the NFL, even at such a young age. Goff's really good. I mean, you have to give him a lot of credit for just the turnaround he's had after that abysmal 2016 rookie season. I think Jeff Fisher gets a lot of blame for that, but you know, that could have ruined a guy's career. We've seen this all the time, where a guy has a bad rookie season and it's just never the same. There is a long list of quarterbacks who had a ton of potential but ended up being bust, and it looked for a second that Jared Goff might be added to that list. So you have to give him credit for finding a way to not be added to that list and instead have a very good 2018 season, and I greatly look forward to seeing if he can improve on that in 2019.